Right, everyone, always super exciting to talk with Lucas Grassi, one of the fathers of Formula E, we call you, because you're just so experienced, so competitive. I remember watching in the first season of Formula E, I went down to Battersea, seeing exciting battles. I've also been here for Formula One and sat up there many times, climbed a tree and looked down. So it's pretty crazy to be here now down on this actual pit lane. But I just want to get some wisdom from you, which is you're partnered here with Zane Maloney, who's very highly rated as a rookie in Formula E. You've seen many rookies in your time in Formula E. Is there any difference between the rookies that come in now and the rookies that were there at the beginning?
Yeah, 100%. I think this new generation coming along now is much more prepared. And the reason they're more prepared is because of sim racing. So, and data. So you have more data, you have more, they come better prepared from driving very realistic simulators from an early age. I know because I have a son who's 6.5. He's already on the simulator discussing overtakes, discussing lines, and we didn't have this tool back then. So I think the young drivers in F1 and in Formula E, they are arriving better prepared. So they will peak their careers earlier because they'll have let's say they could peak their maximum maturity with the reflex. I think that's it will change a little bit earlier. So you will see that in Formula One, right? The new rookies, they come super prepared.
Yeah, people like Kimi coming in and just looks on the pace straight away.
Kimi have done thousands of kilometers of testing. Lando also did it, but doesn't matter. Like they are, even Max winning already. I don't know if he's 27, 28 or whatever. He won already. Won 40. Exactly. Like, so definitely they come better prepared and they will peak earlier than the older generation. Like my generation is Hamilton, Rosberg, Vettel. Probably we would have peaked later because we had less time, less preparation than them.
Let's break that down because I've got two questions from that. One is actually, is there a qualitative difference between doing all the laps in karting and sim racing? And one is actually what happens if you peak earlier. So on the first question, you know, people like Lando, they're very lucky because, you know, around them, they can book out the track, spray the track, wet practice, and you can have these laps. The idea with sim racing is someone who's not able to, for whatever reason, have that preparation. Yeah. Can you have the same quality of practice in the sim, or is it not going to be the same because you don't have the same kind of feelings?
Like every single tool in humanity, which is available for humanity, you can use it in a very good way, you can use it in a bad way, right? You can use a hammer to construct something, you can use a hammer to hit somebody. So with sim racing, the philosophy is you can play in sim racing and you're not gonna evolve, like you would play in a chessboard and you're not gonna evolve, or you try to understand the fundamentals of racing and try to improve on them. You cannot be 100% a great racing driver just from sim racing, but increases a lot your time spent. The more time you spend, quality time you spend there, the more you can focus on the remaining aspects when you are in the racetrack. So it's a great tool to be able to become a better driver.
Okay, so it maybe helps in the preparation a little bit. And
preparation, development, strategy, understanding, positioning, reflex, references, a lot of things.
Okay, so the second part of trying to pick into what you said is drivers are going to kind of peak earlier.
Yes.
Is there anything about that worries you in terms of like, you know, your son's already on the sim, you know, that's at 6.5 years old. Do you think that's early to be on the sim or?
No. So it's a very broad question and very hard to pin down because people are different, right? But what you're trying to do is you're trying to have your highest ability at the same time you have already enough experience and your maturity as a person, as your maturity as understanding the full picture, the strategy and everything. So you try to pick a lot of different factors at the same time. Then you have your maximum performance. What happened before on, let's say, older drivers, they will have the most experience, or they will have enough experience by the time the reflexes are not 100% as they were before. So you kind of lose a little bit. I think if you manage to get a young driver and to make sure that he's well prepared and peak at the same time, they can achieve incredible things when they're very young and have an extended career the same way as the other guys.
Okay. And then in here at Lowly Yamaha with Zane Maloney, do you whether it's a formal thing or not, but do you mentor him a little bit, or do you let him come to you, or what's the relationship like?
Zayn is a full professional driver already. He's 21. He has done 2 or 3 years in Formula 2. He has done his time, but he's learning Formula E. So I learn a lot from him. So there are corners that he's faster than me. I understand why he's braking. He's braking more straight. He's opening more that corner. He's opening less. So I learn from him in many different situations, and he tries to learn from me the experience of driving Formula E, which is a different animal from driving other racing series.
Yeah, people might not expect that watching, but I think in the team environment, you're both trying to learn, and it's a team sport.
100%, because you have the data there. So if you're not learning, there's always, even if you're faster, there's always something you need to learn. Okay. Because you can be faster over a lap time, but you'll be slower over a single corner. Yeah. And then you take that corner, why am I slower in that sector? Yeah. Because the positioning of the car, or the entry speed, or the throttle application, or the brake application, or the setup of the car does not allow me to do that. If I change the setup in that specific corner, does it upset the other part of the track? So it's a very highly complex, but you use each other's data to improve.
So we'll get on to sim racing again later, but what I would take from that and explain to people who are sim racing is, don't just race kind of and not think about it. Like, race, but think, hang on, why was that guy ahead of me faster at this corner? What line were they doing? What's the setup of the car? Like, those little bits are gonna, and if you enjoy it, I imagine, then you're in a complete another dimension of being a racing driver.
Correct. So you need to understand the basics of driving dynamics, and you need to understand what you're doing right and wrong. It's not so easy, because you need experience to understand. If you don't know, it's impossible to know, therefore, what you're doing wrong. Like, if you have somebody that has zero experience of motorsport and you put him in the sim, he doesn't know what he's doing right or wrong. So you need to read. There are great books. Actually, I'm writing a book right now. I'm writing a book right now about this specifically. So you need to understand about optimum line theory. You need to understand about combination of corners, how to approach. You need to understand the car balance. And then in the sim, you can try to improve and try to get better. The same analogy will be if you go to a tennis court and you just hit balls, not doing the right technique. You can do that for 10 years. You're not going to be a better tennis player, right? Or if you play chess, you just move pieces without any theory behind, without any strategy behind. You can do that for 10 years, you're not going to be a better chess player.
So the way I've explained it to people is brute force learning. People think it's brute force learning in sim racing when you go around and you just see your lap time. And like, oh, that lap time was better, but you're not actually thinking about why you're...
You can have an empirical increase in performance. So you do a line randomly, and oh, this line is quicker, so you start repeating that. But if you don't have the underlying knowledge and the base, or the theoretical base, it's very hard when you come a new situation to know what you need to do.
Yeah.
If you do 1,000 laps in Monza, for sure you're going to be better at Monza in sim race. If you do 10,000, probably going to be better than 1,000. But then you go to another track that you need to prove in 20 laps if you're a good sim racing or not, you'll be lost if you don't have this underlying knowledge. So that's why it's important to have this base, so you can be fast in every condition, in every track.
And are you going to go into that in your book? These sort of tech...
Yeah, also, yes.
Okay.
This plus a lot of other things.
Well, we'll get the link for Lucas's book. And
well, it will be ready only in 2026.
Okay. Right, I want to take this wheel, but just before we go on to this wheel, I want to just quickly talk to you about AI, because since I spoke with you in Brazil, there's been this whole explosion in AI in every sector, but you have a particular kind of use case in motorsport in terms of creating an AI, can we call it a ghost or version of yourself? Do you want to just explain kind of...
Actually, we are working with Google. Google is a sponsor of Formula E, Google Cloud. We are working with Google right now to use AI to improve drivers and to sort out data and to use this data to improve the car and the driver. And one of the ways to do that is different, again, having a computer ghost that is optimized on the physics of the game, and one ghost that is optimized on your physics, on your limitations, on your reflexes. So what we're trying to do is to create a virtual twin of a driver that could be your reference simulation driver, but based on your limits. And therefore you can learn within yourself. You can know what is your maximum limit you can achieve. And I think that will again, improve and change the way drivers prepare for races and how they prepare, how they analyze data, how they find different stuff. They are not really, because it's a lot of data that we have. It's very hard to look at every single detail of the data. So AI also will help to sort out the data, get for us the understanding of where we need to improve and how to make things move faster.
Well, we'll keep following up with you about this because it sounds super interesting. There's lots of kind of moral and ethical questions I have about it as well. Like, could you take that virtual twin and put it in a car at some stage and you have one car on the grid that's actually AI controlled? But
yeah, you can. That's what we did with RoboRace.
yeah,
I created a virtual twin of myself already.
yeah,
And I put it on the car.
yeah.
And it was faster than me.
And well, that's my question. Do you think it will be faster?
Yeah, it will.
There's no human soul element or like.
But then it depends what you consider to be, for example, it's a long discussion, but for example, traction control is computer controlled. So when you're driving against AI, are you allowed to use computer? Are you allowed to augment the systems with your inputs?
It's augmented anyway.
It's augmented anyway, or not. Yeah. But in essence, AI will be faster because they have higher processing capabilities. They have different sensors. They have more sensors. They can feel and react faster. We have a biochemical limit in terms of how many milliseconds we can react to something.
And we see it in racing because drivers at some point, it's like, I'm not as quick as I was when I was 2 years ago. So you see these.
Yeah, but this is basically the aging process. But I'm talking about the biochemistry of turning a photon that hits your retina and becomes an electrical signal in your brain. There is a delay that in silicon-based computation, you don't have it.
Yeah, we'll talk about it next time, but people have been really asking for this. This is a sim racing wheel. I'll ask you the question anyway. I'll put these glasses on. So these are Google and Meta glasses. It'll be amazing to see you kind of like, just show us when you're driving Monaco, kind of like, yeah, this is a different wheel obviously, but what are you doing when you're driving Monaco, when you're going through Saint-Devote, when you're going through the hairpin, for example?
Yeah, so that's a wheel which is similar to the Formula E wheel, yeah, but not 100% the same. But for example, on the straight here, when you go between the last corner and the first corner, you'll be seeing a lot of information here, like your lap time, like your brake distribution, like your energy consumption, like many different things. And for example, corner one is the braking is uphill. Mm-hmm. Doesn't look like a lot, but the braking is slightly uphill. So you want to have the distribution a little bit more forward. Mm-hmm. So what I will do in Formula E, these will be the gears in Formula One, but in Formula E, this is the brake distribution for us. Okay. So I will distribute the brake slightly forward in the straight, coming up to the brake in the first corner, and we'll show it on the screen. Then I will brake, try to position the car as straight as possible. So you need to brake straight to be able to produce the most amount of longitudinal force on the tire. And then as soon as you go up, you turn in a specific speed that allows the front tire to be at the exact slip angle.
Slightly.
No, every time you turn, the tire will slip a bit. Mm-hmm. So the velocity that you turn the wheel affects the slip of the front tire, so you try to optimize that. Mm-hmm. And then in corner one, you try to hit the curb, and then you try to go as straight as possible mm-hmm. on the exit to maximize traction capacity. Mm-hmm. So you'd go, turn, and then go straight on the exit to try to maximize the rear capacity.
Because the tires are like...
Yeah, and you're micro correcting all the time, because if you have a little bit of oversteer, you need to correct, or a little bit of understeer, or if you're not steering enough, you need to also find the optimum limit. So you're micro correcting the steer all the time. And then after you do the corner one, you see already a live delta, like in the sim.
Yeah.
Are you better or worse? And then the next break
Does that mentally affect you? If it's down or up, does it make a mental change, or you just register it?
You know it. Okay. You can feel it that you did a good corner, right? Then you go up, and by the time you go up to corner 3, it's a completely different braking. So you jump a bit. So you need to go back with the brake settings, and then you would again try to position the car. You go through the left and rights, mm-hmm. which are flat out. Then you try to position the car completely straight to jump, mm-hmm. and then not have the car moving around mm-hmm. in the middle of this jump. So try to jump, Then when you land, you have a lot of force in the tire. Then when you land, you try to turn the steering wheel.
You use that force when it's
You use that force to turn the car and to carry the speed into corner 3, which is the casino corner, the one before the casino, the Hotel de Paris corner. Yeah, and then it's a sequence of corners that you need to go up and down. This track is very flowy, so you're always on the edge, but always trying to maximize track width and going from one corner to another, avoiding bumps. So it's actually a very, very technical, difficult track.
Just talk us quickly just through the hairpin.
Yeah, so in the hairpin, you have two ways of doing it. You can, some drivers, they will go, because this hand, after 180 degrees, the hand is stuck. So what you can do if you need a little bit more than 180 degrees, and don't forget, in Formula E, we don't have power steering. So the car actually, it's very heavy to turn the steering. So it's very hard to turn with a single hand. So what you can do, you can slide your hand slightly over the steering to create a little bit more angle.
Do you modify the wheel for that at all?
No. You just slide a little bit here, or you hold it here, or you just slide it here to hold it. Or if you're able to turn, you try to turn it as much as possible with the wheel. So either you slide the right wheel slightly under and the left slightly over to have a little bit more angle. So I can almost do a 270.
Do you feel vulnerable there because you can't turn anymore?
No, because you are pretty much at the limit.
Okay.
But you need to have both hands, because sometimes if this hand slips and you are with a single hand, it's harder to bring it back.
Yeah.
So, and in Formula 2, I remember there was one driver, actually Bruno Senna, a friend of mine, used to take both hands here. The steering was so heavy, he used to take both hands here and turn like this. But it's not something that I do. I try to keep always both hands in the steering wheel, so you have full control of the steering.
Well, Lucas, that's been amazing. Next time we'll do a whole lap or something on the wheel. Maybe we'll use your wheel or compare. This is actually a sim racing wheel from one of the brands, but there's many like this that are carbon fiber and have all of the encoders. And there's a big conversation in sim racing. Should you have a replica wheel where you don't have any computer switches? Because in real life you have your engineer, so your engineer's helping you, or for sim racing, do you want to have like things that help you because it's one of you? That's a big debate.
Well, there is even a WhatsApp here.
Yeah.
WhatsApp somebody.
Yeah, your mum. So, mum, dinner's ready. Come down. Maybe for your son, that one.
Yes.
See you later. Lucas, we've gone so far of time, but I apologise.
Thank you very much.
So much.
No. Big pleasure. Thank you.
And we'll put your link to the book when it's available. We'll upload all the videos so people can go and get the best advice.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Lucas.